So we have here the rusty sunroof out of my Mitsubishi Challenger. The frame itself of the vehicle is fine. It's just this portion here, the glass and the steel framing. It's glued together, so I can't remove the glass to do it. I've got to leave the glass in there, which means being a bit more careful. But yeah, pretty easy job to get this out of the truck. Just 6 screws. So there's just 6 screws in the frame. 1, 2, 3 on both sides. Undo those. Just a little screw. And lift the glass out. The frame itself is fine. The rust is confined to the glass is confined to the frame. Just a little bit of mark here. I sort of sandpapered that last night just to take the surface rust off. I'll sort that out. But no, the rest of the frame's all fine. So this hasn't been going on for very long. I'm pretty sure it's from when I was doing a fair bit of kayaking, training for a race. I was practicing in the ocean, so the saltwater was dripping off, and the seal here on the other side wasn't designed properly from what I've been reading online. There's a little gap, the water comes down and then got into here this way, so that's just been sitting, the salt water sitting in the top here and just rusting it away, and it's probably been doing that for about 18 months before I noticed it. So it's done quite a bit of damage. It's not terminal, thank God, because you can't get a replacement for these things. Couldn't find one anywhere. New Zealand, Australia, the US. So luckily it didn't get away too much further. So I've done a quick grind on here, just a light one so far, just to get the surface rust away, to see what I'm dealing with. But I didn't notice until I got it out that the rust is all the way along here, a bit more here, some around here, another decent chunk here, and then goes right the way around to the back here as well. So I'm bugging if I know how I guess there must have been another, actually I remember now, there was another, the seal was lifted a little bit there, so it's got into that part as well. And there's even some, by the looks of it, on the inside here, and a bit more there as well. So yeah, she's not too much of it, not too major job really. This seal will just come straight off, like so. It should have come off quite easily, but the rust had expanded and it was a little bit difficult to pull off here, but right, so I've ground out as much of the rust as I can. Obviously, as I already mentioned, the glass is glued to the frame. So at this stage, we're just going to not bother taking it apart, but as much as I can. In say 3 months or so, I'll take it out again and just see if it's getting if it's started up again and got any worse. I will actually take the glass off, because it's only this is a pretty easy job, really, to be honest. So anyway, I've grounded out as much of that as I can. As you can see, it was quite deep in places, and I ended up getting down to bare metal, took quite a bit. That was the worst side there. but all the way around the frame we had rust, and good to know just how it's getting in now. So it was getting in the ends on the main side, and just working its way down through the seam, through the seam of this rubber seal, and just rusting out the whole way around. So the main thing is to stop the water getting back into there again. So I'll be running a line of silicone down the gap here, and also around the top edge, just to stop any water getting in there again, and just making sure that it is watertight. Yeah, so that's the plan. Next step will be to tape it all off, throw some of this rust converter on there, CRC, neutralises any rust that I missed, and yeah, it converts it into a primer. And then after that, got some semi-gloss epoxy enamel, just to make the paint look like it did beforehand. And yeah, that should be done. I imagine it should be alright. But as I say, if not, we'll pull it out in 6 months and have another go at it. We might have to end up taking the glass away from the frame, just to make sure there is no rust under there. But once we get all this stuff on it, I think it should be alright. But we'll see. So the rust converter has done its job after coating on both sides. The light stuff is where there was still active rust, so I got a lot of it away. So I'll go ahead and spray it now with its first coating of paint over the top, to get it looking a little bit better. Obviously it's still going to be pretty bubbly. So I've done 2 coats now of the rust guard over the top of the corrosion converter. So it's looking pretty good. I'll whack it back into it tonight, no, I'm pretty confident that she should be alright. But as I say, I'll pull her out in another 3 months or so, just make sure everything is still going okay, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so pretty much done. With that seal back on, put a bead of silicone around the outside to stop any water getting in through there. Filled up that gap with silicone. That was the main problem, the water was getting in there in the first place. So yeah, no water should be getting in, but as I say, I'll take it out in another 3 months or something, have a quick look at it, and because it takes 2 minutes to take out, we'll go from there. But no, I think it should do the job. We didn't really have an option, did we? If you've got one of these cars, you can't buy a replacement. At least I couldn't find it anywhere in New Zealand or Australia. So I was quite lucky it wasn't too bad. There was still plenty of metal to attach the rubber back to. So yeah, 1 layer of rust converter, 2 layers of rust guard and our epoxy enamel, seal back on, and some silicone, and yeah, should be good. So if you want to do it all up, the rust converter I think was about $15, the paint about 15 to 20, silicone I already had, but maybe another 15 bucks, so yeah, sort of talking $40–45, and it should be good. It should be good for at least a couple of years anyway, until you sell the car off.